Well, there you all are. Well, I'm so glad we see so many people coming in already on YouTube, Facebook, on our radio, telephone network. Friends, we are making some progress. The apostates, yes, those that have left the Watchtower, they are making a big difference. The Watchtower really is aware of us all. They don't like us, and we're going to just keep on coming forward. More and more apostates are showing up every day, doing YouTube videos, posting on Facebook. My goodness, the Watchtower is going to be very concerned of what's going on in the world of the former witness. Well, tonight, and I'm so glad you're all listening in, we have a former Jehovah's Witness. She's out of Northern California. Her name is Anne Marie, and she has a lot to talk about tonight. Well, she has a program. It's called Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. And now this is your opportunity to call in. And if you have feelings about the Watchtower, mostly people who've been touched have been hurt, but maybe have been helped by the Watchtower. She'll even entertain that. So anything you want to say about the Watchtower, she'll give you a subject and call her up. The telephone number will be scrolling on the bottom of the YouTube video as well as the Facebook video. So by all means, take advantage of that. So hello, Anne Marie.
Hello, my brother Rick. Sorry I had to unmute. How are you doing this Six Screen Saturday?
Well, I'm doing good, Anne Marie. I'm glad that you can come on. You've been a steady hitter. You're always there, ready to go. We really appreciate that. And I'm getting a lot of favorable comments about Anne Marie, and they're all looking forward to meeting you at the convention.
Oh, look forward to meeting everyone as well. How are you and Susan, my brother?
Well, we're doing good. We're doing really good, getting set up in the new studio. Still working on the other one in Lowell, but we're getting this one pretty much organized. So it's moving along well. And boy, the convention, my goodness, we are getting some big time speakers coming in. And I'll share some things with people tonight on my news broadcast. But we're all looking forward to it. And just to give you an idea, tonight, we have a woman that will be giving a talk. She's coming on JW World News at 8 o'clock. And she has been trafficked in the Watchtower when she was a young person. And this is not the first time we've heard of this. And, you know, we're willing to speak out about it tonight. Friends, this is legit. This woman will be coming on. She wants to tell her story. She also will be at the convention up here in Boston in August, and she'll give her story there as well. But just to give you an idea of the magnitude of all of this, after she comes on tonight, she'll be on with us for a good part of an hour. And then we have a man by the name of Travis Walker. Well, he's an attorney out of Stuart, Florida. He has a law firm, and he's going to be coming on as well, talking about human trafficking. And he's going to be trying to help the Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-witnesses that are listening in tonight with any questions they might have concerning child molestation when they were younger. So it sounds like a really good program coming up, Anne Marie. So we're all looking forward to that. But we're looking forward to your program as well. And so tell us what's on your mind tonight. Anything in particular?
Yes, what's on my mind is truth. What is truth? We were told we were in the truth, that we were being the truth. So I'm all about what is truth. Exactly truth.
Well, Anne Marie, I mean, everything you say, I can take to the bank in cash. I've never doubted a thing. You're on the ball. You're a truth teller. So I'll cut you loose. Your audience is with you. You got a big audience coming in already. So I'll cut you loose. I'm here if you need me, Anne Marie.
I might need this phone. I said a prayer over it. Let's hope it holds. Thank you, my sir. I want to welcome everyone, and I also want everyone listening to feel very valued and very welcome. And I want you to know that you will be heard if you can. I want to always come to those who are physically the watch or men. There are points where this.
Well, we are having some issues, Anne Marie, I guess, with the phone. Darn it. Yeah, it is kind of cutting in and out. Maybe if you go to another place, next to a window or something.
Can't that Rick is back. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a shame, darn it.
Should I hang up? I know. Should I hang up? Skip the show? There's nothing I can do. I have no phone.
Oh, okay, why don't you just try, go closer to the window, see if that helps.
I'm right next to the window.
All right, well, let's try to, are you on speaker? Because that's the only way you can
No,
hear.
sir.
Okay.
One moment. No, I'm not on speaker.
All right, well, that sounds a little better right there. Just kind of go nice and slow, and we'll try to work through it and see how that works, Anne-Marie. So I'm here, though, if you need me. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. I want to welcome everyone. Today is May 17, 2025. The show is touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower, as we all were. I want to welcome first the PIMQs. Those are physically in Watchtower, but mentally they are questioning. They're worried. They're scared. And it's a scary place to be. And I want to welcome always, of course, the PIMQs, those who are physically in Watchtower, but mentally they are out. They see the Watchtower and know the Watchtower for what it is because they've done the research. Their eyes are open and they have to keep playing the game, because if they get caught, their lives will be destroyed. They'll lose their marriage, their children, and so on. Today's theme that I wanted to talk about is truth. Truth is so important. I mean, when you think about it, we were taught that we were in the truth. How long have you been in the truth? He's weak in the truth. She's strong in the truth. Oh, he left the truth. Everything associated with Watchtower was drummed into our head was the truth, as if there could be no other truth. So I wanted to really talk about that. If you guys will be patient, I hope you can hear me. And I will be quoting some scriptures. I'm not trying to preach. I'm not going to tell you what I believe or what to believe or what you should believe. I'm just going to quote a few things. John 18:37 through 38, New World Translation, basically says, "For this I have been born, for this I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth." And in verse 38, Pilate asked Jesus, "What is truth?" I think that's a good question. 1 Timothy 4:3 says that we should accurately know the truth. 2 Timothy 2:18 says that man has deviated from the truth. 2 Timothy 2:16 through 18 basically says that we should reject empty speeches given by men whose words will spread like gangrene, false stories, that they have deviated from the truth. So I went on Google and I wanted to know the definition of truth. I got a lot of different sources. And basically, truth is defined as that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. Truth is factually representing reality, the real facts of a situation, the property of being in accord with fact or reality, the quality of being true, genuine, actual, or factual, a proven or verified fact. So I got repeated words of truth being fact, truth being reality, truth being proven to be genuine or actual. So truth is basically a solid thing. And I want to ask everyone to ask themselves, is truth important to you? Is it important to know? Is it important enough for us to want to verify as true what someone else tells us is true? Are we like the Bereans at Acts 17:11 who examined the scriptures daily as to whether these things were so? The organization, the Watchtower, says that they represent the truth. They represent the God of truth. Witnesses refer to their organization as being the truth. As I said before, some examples are, how long have you been in the truth? She's strong in the truth. He left the truth. The leaders of the Watchtower have firmly stated many times that they represent truth. But yet the Watchtower's organization's truth and their teachings have drastically changed many times over the last 130 years or so. There is a video on YouTube. The title of the video is The Hidden Truth About Jehovah's Witnesses. At about 35 minutes and 49 seconds into the video, I wrote down what the person said. The quote is, "To what extent can a truth be manipulated and still remain?" Calling ourselves Jehovah's Witnesses, we were proclaiming ourselves to be representatives of the Most High God, representing Him in all we did in our lives, that we were representing Him, His Word, which is truth, in all our beliefs and teachings, no matter how many times these beliefs and teachings were changed, altered, rearranged, or completely discarded altogether as now being old light. How are we doing, Rick? I hear an echo.
You're doing good, Anne-Marie. The voice is good. The sound is good. Yes, you're all right.
Okay, I'm not going to move. So how could we have been representing the God of truth if our organization that taught us as Jehovah's Witnesses that they were the only virtual voice of God, if the Watchtower leaders could never seem to get the truth right? How would you feel if someone claimed to represent you without permission, to speak and to teach in your name, again, without your permission, and their teaching in your name kept proving to be inaccurate? More clearly stated, in other words, their teachings in your name proved to be false. How would you feel? Truth is solid, unchanging. If more is learned about a truth, the core truth does not change. For example, if I told you I went to the store yesterday, that is a statement of fact, a statement of truth. If later I add that I walked to the store, this adds to the truth. It adds to the fact, but it does not change it at all. If I state even later and added that it was a sunny day when I walked to the store, but was raining when I left, again, no change to the core truth or fact. 1 John 4:6 says, "Whoever does not originate with God does not listen to us," the apostles. By this, we distinguish the inspired statement of truth from the inspired statement of error. How about that? Hasn't the governing body admitted that they err, that they are not infallible, that they are not inspired? And we can just look at their history and know that this is a fact, because their teachings, their doctrines have all changed, all been altered, discarded. 2 Thessalonians 2:8-11 speaks of Satan using powerful works and lying signs and deception, using clever schemes to trick and to deceive those who do not accept the love of truth. Picture the governing body and the way they control what their members think and what they believe. That is why it continued on the scripture. That is why God lets a deluding influence mislead them so that they may come to believe the lie. Have followers of the Watchtower come to believe lies as truth? The renowned researcher Jordan Maxwell said, most will find it difficult to accept truth. Those who have accepted authority as truth rather than the truth as authority. That is not verbatim. The point is still made clear. Does this sound like your typical believing Watchtowerite, accepting the authority as truth rather than accepting the truth as authority? Definitely sounds like a Watchtowerite to me. You know, things that matter are hard. Standing up for what you know is right, is true, is often very hard, often comes with a lot of punishment and anger, and we know, shunning. But the truth does matter, and to keep your head buried in the sand of denial, it's just easier for many of these followers of Watchtower. To keep their head buried in the sand of denial is easier than facing the head-on consequences of squarely facing the real truth, the true facts, because then you would be faced with the responsibility of knowing the real facts of the truth. And we all know the consequences. And that's a scary thing. And carries with that fear is the very real consequence of being shunned if you should ever be discovered to know the real truth about the Watchtower organization. It is very hard for most people who hold to a strong belief system to even consider that they might be wrong. Because if they would even allow themselves to consider that they might be wrong, then they would be confronted with having to examine the facts and the evidence of that belief system, which may very well threaten the very foundation of that belief system. I remember a brother after a circuit convention. We were at the back of all the seats and the group was talking, and as usual, I just listened. And somebody was talking about our beliefs and facts. And this brother, and I quote him verbatim, this brother said, "We don't need facts. We have the truth." So that kind of clarifies pretty much the mindset of the typical PME, physically in, mentally in, believing Watchtowerite, faithful to the Watchtower, following the Watchtower, believing what they're told to believe. Don't question, just obey, just serve, remain loyal. That's the typical Watchtowerite. So I want to ask anyone listening, feel free to call in. Were we in the truth? Were we lied to? Convinced to believe the lies as being the truth? According to the Bible, which I quoted from New World Translation, and according to all the sources on Google, truth is factual. It does not change. It is not rearranged and manipulated and still remain the truth. It's either true or it's not true. Would anybody like to comment or share a thought? Please feel free. It's *6. This show is for you. Well, that was all I had. It's been on my head, in my mind, truth. Yes. Hello, dear. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Thomas Hudson out of Lawrence, Kansas. How are you?
Thomas. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Looking forward to that convention coming up before we know it.
I knew you. I know you are.
Yeah, I can hardly wait. I've been sending out some. I seen it come up on Facebook. So what I did, I linked it down to my my account deal, and so I've been sending out people I know they're XJWs letting me know about it. So yeah, I even told a lady at work. She's never been a Jehovah's Witness, but her mother used to be married to a Jehovah's Witness, and the marriage didn't work out, and so she's going to let her know about it. So I'm going to tell as many people as I can. And I've been telling coworkers about it. Some of them, they think it's really nice that we have something like that to go to. So yep, I'm getting excited for her, I'll tell you what.
It is something wonderful. I'm so grateful.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I just, as you were talking, I was just thinking, man, I just like myself, I just can't believe that I could just be just so pulled into this thing. And just for 21, in my case, 21 years of my life, it just blows my mind to this day. How could they pull this thing off like that? I just, I wanted truth so much, see, and they just, we have the truth, and we just think the world of you, blah, blah, blah. You know how they go. And they have all their literature, just proofread to just get it worded just right to where they can really, get a hold of you with their grappling hooks. And then they have the Bible that's completely altered. I guess it's just this information over and over again. That's all you ever hear. That's all you ever know. Everything's so tightly controlled. I guess that's how it works, But,
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, they use a lot of subliminal hypnotic indoctrination. We didn't realize that we were being subtly hypnotized. I mean, do you ever remember after a convention or a meeting, people talking afterward, wasn't that a great talk? Wasn't that an encouraging talk? Wasn't that a really exciting Watchtower study? I remember these conversations, but I also remember nobody ever seemed to have a specific point that they were referring to. It's like they emotionally thought, this is so great, but there was no logical mind. They weren't actually processing anything. It was all emotional. Exactly. You ever remember that?
Emotional control. Yep. Information control. Yeah, they got all these tight controls. Boy, they know how just to tweak them just right to keep you pinned in. I hope these governments really nail these folks in the Watchtower really good. I know they're really coming down pretty hard in these foreign countries, so I'm hoping our government over here will do something. I know there's been a lot of letters been going out to them, so they know about it. They've got some response from some congressmen, some of the friends. I don't know how many, but I've heard there is some. So maybe eventually, hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, you're so right. I'm with you on that one, Thomas. Anything you'd like to add, my brother?
I have to keep enduring, a couple witnesses at my job. They don't ever speak to me. I mean, they're not being really flat out rude like they used to be, but they sure don't speak. It's just the same old, but it's just really a bummer. It kind of bugs you sometimes. That's just the way life goes.
My goodness. I feel for you. I had to work with a couple of sisters who were, not cool. But I feel for you, Thomas. I really do.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm not perfect, but I love to be friendly to everybody. You know what I mean?
I know.
It just kind of tugs at your emotions once in a while because somebody will say goodbye, have a great weekend, and they'll be right by me. Of course, they don't say nothing, but they'll be talking to their friends around there and everything. And I don't know. It's just I don't try to say anything to them. I just because I know how they are and everything. So it's just I don't know. It's just a bummer. I don't know
it is.
It makes zero sense, but that's Watchtower. What does make sense in the Watchtower?
Nonsense.
Exactly. But
well,
I
Thomas,
sure enjoy your approach.
I enjoy you calling in. You know, Thomas, we all deal with the shunning, especially if we have to see people who shun us. But you know, what comforts me is, I think it's in Peter, First Peter or Second Peter, it says, as far as it depends upon you, be peaceable with all men. And then, of course, the golden rule, Jesus said, treat others the way you want to be treated. So I would say to you, never let somebody's negative, nasty attitude change who you are or interrupt your joy or your happy heart. You're a very loving, genuinely good man. You're happy, you're friendly, you're kind. And that's who you are. Right. And no matter what they act like, you know, a snake is always a snake. But you don't want to adopt any, you don't want to feel bad because a snake doesn't like you. Oh, well, you're a snake and I'm not. Thank God.
Yeah, that's right. Good point. That's well said. Yep. You're right, Anne-Marie. It'll be so nice to meet you in person, too, when we get to the convention.
Oh, bless your heart. And you as well, Thomas. I appreciate that. Thank you, Thomas. Would anybody else like to comment on anything Thomas said or on the subject of truth? What it means to you?
They're called cognitive biases. I won't read all 50 of them, but here's some we hadn't thought of. The bandwagon bias. Remember, they want us all on the same bandwagon. Survivor bias. If somebody was faithful, they act like that person was super special. The Barnum effect. We know about that one. Somebody, a fool being born every minute. Halo and horn effect. That black and white thinking. It's either good or bad. In-group bias, out-group bias. And here's the one. Let's see. Groupthink, we understand that. Pluralistic ignorance bias. But here's the one we all fell for. Just world biased. That someday the world would be just. There's not very much justice in the world, and it's always been that way, and it's not going to really change. Illusion of control bias, and so forth. Sunk cost bias. We've been in so long we can't get out of it.
Right.
Things like that. Things like that. And I'm going to have to look up gambler's fallacy and find out what that is. I guess that means if you won one time, you'll win the next. But they bamboozled us with all kinds of very, very professional bamboozlement.
They sure did.
And I think that's why they don't want us to have higher education. It's wonderful if someone goes to nursing school or electrician school. Those are very fine jobs and very respected things. But in the classical education, you learn logic and thinking and about the Greeks. And if Aristotle is a man and man is mortal, then Aristotle is mortal. And that's thinking. And they don't want that. So that's my comment for today. And my happy comment was from a country and western song at the Country Awards last week. Find the rhythm of your own highway.
And girl, Pixie, you always bring out such interesting stuff. Thank you so much. Everybody listens when you comment.
Well, I spend a week finding background for you guys, and I just hope everybody has a happy Saturday and Sunday.
Well, we wish you the same as well, Pixie. Thank you so much for being such a faithful caller and listener. Anybody would like to call in? *6 is for you because this show is for you. Anybody want to comment?
Anne-Marie.
Yeah. Hi, this is Ken. Who's this?
Yeah.
Hi, Ken.
Yeah. I just want to let you know that I did get a hold of Jay finally and talk to him a little bit. He's just simply holding his own. And he's got a different phone number there that you can get to him, and I'm going to update that with Rick sometime when I get a chance. But I want to comment on your topic tonight and so forth. It's a very interesting topic. A friend of mine once said, about people in general. The truth is what they want it to be, not what it actually is.
Got my phone in here.
That's the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. The truth is what they want it to be, not what it actually is.
It might be.
They will actually take a religious doctrine and the opposite will be true about it, but they're going to say, oh, no, it's true, this is the way it is. You know, well, when you run into some people like that, you know they're hiding something and you know they're wrong. Oftentimes, they're just outright liars. And Watchtower Society is pretty good at lying and deceiving people, so forth, right across the board. But the thing is that we have to cultivate the discretionary seed in us, all of us here, so we can, when we hear something, oh, wait a minute, this don't sound right. Or wait a minute, this sounds pretty good. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to always check things out. Don't take anything at face value. Always check things out. Okay, we'll take the next caller here after your comment, if you got any. So, *6.
Well, thank you for your comment.
Marie.
Hi. Could I just say one thing? I think it's important to note that a person who holds to a belief will fight to hold on to their belief as being truth. They don't want to know that their truth is not true, because to them, what they believe is the truth. Go ahead here. What's your name?
Yeah, it's Dick Borgie. How you doing?
Oh, Dick Borgie. So good to hear from you. I'm well. How are you and Constance?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. I'm fearing that the phone is breaking up. When
I
Sarah's
know.
calling in, okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't my phone. Actually, Pixie stole all my thunder. I had a whole bunch of thoughts, and she covered them all. But I just wanted to add a couple more that I was thinking about. You know, in this cult, it's either black and white. Jehovah's Witnesses are wonderful, happy people, happiest people on the earth. And those who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses are degenerates, sinners, rotten people, controlled by Satan the devil. And there's nothing. You're either super spiritual and you're Jehovah's Witness, or you're a degenerate, and you're not a Jehovah's Witness. That black and white stuff makes people crazy, because if you were in the world, as they would say, you had a lot of good friends. At least I know I did. Had a lot of good friends, and they were wonderful people.
Right.
And I've known a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, for the 20 years that I was in the cult. They weren't wonderful people. So I just thought I'd throw it in. Like I said, Pixie grabbed a lot of my thunder. So good program, Anne-Marie. Really enjoying it.
Well, I love your comments, Dick, and please feel free to share any other thoughts that you have, because what you share is always very important and very pertinent for everyone to hear. And if you are of the mind to share any more, I really would love to hear it.
Well, I would go on the same lines. You're under the delusion that everybody in the Watchtower is honest and they're sincere. And, you know, me and Connie are going to do a program on mental health, you know, after your program is over. And you come to find out that that's simply not true. This organization lies to you all the time. And the crazy thing is, they'll lie to your face, and you know they're lying. 1975 is going to bring Armageddon. Well, it didn't. I mean, they've been predicting the end of the world like 16 times. They go with this crazy stuff of overlapping generations. And at one time, like I watch YouTube a lot. I was just watching the program today where the sister was on, and her husband wanted to wear a beard, and he did. And this is like 10 years ago. And they said, well, you know, you can't be reaching out for privileges if you're wearing a beard and so forth. And then, oh, okay, now in the last year or two, you can have a beard.
and a sister would be mortified to go to the Kingdom Hall with pants on, and the Watchtower didn't mind her going out in Michigan, you know, with her legs exposed, maybe nylons, but that's not going to keep a woman warm. You know? I mean, they just change everything all the time, and they just call it new light, and people just, well, okay, it's new light. And that's why 6 screens is so important, because you shed that really bright light into the darkness. And you make people think. That's just think. Take a deep breath and think. We're telling everybody on 6 screens, we're telling the PMOs, listen, folks, it's a fraud. C.T. Russell was a pedophile. So Rutherford was a drunk who had a mistress and drove Cadillacs on everybody else's donations. There's so much fraud in this organization. And the beauty of it, of 6 screens, is if you listen long enough, you'll connect all the dots, and the cognitive dissonance will go away, and you'll realize that this is a fraud, and you should get out. And I really do hope that people show up in Boston in August, and I'm sure they will. I just heard Thomas Hobson's on there just a few minutes ago, and I'm looking forward to meeting him. And some of the regulars on 6 screens that I've known for 20 years. I've been doing it, you know, with Rick for that long. This organization, it's really starting to come apart right now. And the beauty of 6 screens is you can get stuff off your chest, and you can hear how everyday people, you know, me, Connie, yourself, and, you know, Pixie and Thomas, and, you know, all these people that call in regularly, you know, they're telling you, you know, for sure that it's a cult. And if you want to be reassured, go on YouTube. Check in JW, what's the one, honey? JW, what is it? JW Facts and Vance, all these YouTube, you know, Lady C and JT, and there's just so many wonderful YouTubes on there that are programs on YouTube that really will set you straight. And if you do go straight, tell somebody. Send them a letter, send them a card. If you don't want to sign it, don't. But tell people to listen to 6 screens or listen to YouTube. You got to get out of that cult. It's causing you nothing but misery. Thank you, Anne Marie. That's about all I got for now.
Well, Dick, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you extended your commentary. For anyone who doesn't believe that Watchtower is a cult, all you have to do is go on YouTube and look up the BITE model, BITE. It stands for behavioral control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. And there's a very short video. If you look up the BITE model, look for the one with the lime green background that shows 10 fingers. And on the fingertips, they have little faces painted on them with black marker. That is the shortest, most concise, and most informative of the 4 major mind control techniques that all successful cults use. This is not investigating Watchtower. It's simply educating yourself on what a cult is and how it operates and the methods that they use. And this video gives examples of behavioral control. They give examples of information control and examples of thought and emotional control.
Hey, Anne Marie. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on, sir. We're just missing Anne Marie here. Hello, Emery. You still with us? She's having some phone issues tonight, but let me talk to you, sir. What's your name?
Oh, this is a pasta dude.
Oh, Pasta
You know
Dude.
me.
Oh, yeah, no, good. I
Yeah.
I recognize you now, Pasta Dude. Yeah, so you doing all right tonight?
Yeah, they were talking about the truth, and they used some quote that kind of inverted something I use all the time called, and I even brought it out in a meeting one time before I left, and it was truth is not altered by what we believe. It's like, you have thousands of different religions, but there's really only one truth. So there's a lot of gravity about that. I mean, ultimately, the truth will have its say. But the Watchtower, like early on when I went to meetings, I'd watch people be getting interviewed, and they go, "Sister so-and-so, how long have you been in the truth?" And I'm new, and I'm thinking, "Oh, wow, that's convincing."
Well,
So anyway, they were talking about that.
well, no, in fact, I have to say, Pasta Dude, that, Jehovah's Witnesses are not the only religion or cult. Let's go with cult. They're not the only cult that says they have the truth. Every cult says they have the truth. But, just you've got to put the litmus test on it. Really. Now, you have an organization that claims they're God's channel on planet Earth. They claim that, God is working directly through them. The evidence does not show that. The evidence does not show that. All of the issues that they are now confronted with around the world, governments are coming down on them for their child molestation and hiding it, shunning. Governments are saying that is wrong. Even the Bible is saying that's wrong. So, Apostle Dude, they can claim they have the truth, but I mean it's far from it.
Yeah. No, to make that claim and to demand all the particulars in terms of policies, and many of which are man-made, does not come across with any kind of truth. But that's only when you're awake that you see that. At every point you made, Rick, I'm fully on board. I realize, and so that's the whole thing. And then there's the common sense question: why all the paranoia about any challenges to your infallible truth? I mean, come on, that makes no sense at all. But lo and behold, man, you start peeping questions out, and you're a marked person, as you all know. So,
well,
anyway.
There you go. And, it's really is a good subject Anne-Marie brought up tonight, because it really does speak volumes. We all of us don't like being lied to. I mean, nobody does. That is, sometimes it seems so innocent. Well, it's just a little lie, but little lies bring up big lies, and that's exactly how the Watchtower started. They might have just, in fact, I'm sure they started with just a little lie, but before you know it, now they're in deep, deep doo-doo. Well,
Yeah, there was a
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yep.
There was a channel. She took her stuff down, but she was a former pioneer, and she had this saying, "They're in too deep." Unlike the blood issue, they know that's bogus, and they can't get out of that. That's a corporation suicide for them, so they can't admit the truth about the deaths and the suicide. So yeah, they're in too deep.
I'm with
Go
you.
ahead, bro, you're next.
Hi, it's Maverick here. Great points, Apostle Dude. What you said is totally hi, Rick, as well. I just wanted to quote something that backs up what you just said, Apostle Dude. If everybody remembers the You Can Live Forever in Paradise on Earth book, the red one, the very famous red one that we studied, there's a chapter very early, page 32, about how you can distinguish between what your religion really matters. And there's a quote there on paragraph 19 that says, "Sincerely believing something and practicing that belief will not make it right if it really is wrong." That is verbatim out of the You Can Live Forever on Paradise on Earth book.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So let's judge them by their own standard then. This is what I try to do. Let us use their standard. That's their metric. They admit that they cannot, that just because you believe something sincerely, and we know that we believe it sincerely, not most people who join up believe it sincerely, but it doesn't make it true, like you said. And the only defense that Watchtower has is to hide the evidence that people try to give them. And on that page 32 and page 33 of that book, it says, if you are on, this is a little quote, I'm just quoting straight out of it because I find it very ironic that when the very things that they got us to question our former beliefs, they won't do it for themselves. So it's such a double standard. And they said things like, if you were on the wrong road, would pride or stubbornness prevent you from admitting it? Well, Watchtower, pride and stubbornness has prevented you from admitting things like 607 being wrong, that you're the foundations of your calculations for 1914. And it's not even about the last days thing. I'll just give one example, then I'll let everybody have their voice. The fact that they said 1914 is the correct date is because they know that they said Jesus invisibly elected the Watchtower leadership in 1919. So they can't afford to mess about with those dates, and therefore they have to hide it. So when Carl Olaf Johnson put all his research in, would stubbornness and pride stop them from admitting it? Yes, they were stubborn and proud because they know that they have no legitimate reason for anybody to say that they are the channel of God, as Rick pointed out just now. That's all I wanted to say. But you made some great points, and it's like let's use their words, their standard, to measure them by. Yeah, that's what I do anyway. My great points.
You made a great point, and what I want to add for everybody who hasn't done it, all you have to do is read the foreword to Carl Olaf Johnson's book, Gentile Times Revisited, I think. Just read the foreword. If you read the foreword, he was kind of like sincerely just sending them what he found in his research because he got challenged a few times out as a pioneer. And he said, wow, you guys must know something that all the scholars don't know, but here's what I found. Can you help me out? And then they stabbed him in the back. And they didn't answer back. And then they plotted to, discredit him because, he's going to talk to people. So it's a mess.
So, absolutely. So that's as you mentioned about JW, and Dick Boogie mentioned it. And people, once they go to places like JW Facts, when they come onto 6 screens and they get a chance to hear people's experiences, there's nowhere for them to go. And the chat, it's very easy for us to just look, all the information is there. Have the courage to make your mind up which way you're going to go with it. And I'm sure there's many people who'll be listening to this show who are just now starting to look into it for themselves. They may be feeling nervous or scared that they're doing something wrong. But as we said, truth is the truth. You can't mess with it. The only people who are scared of it are the ones who are trying to hide something because they know that they want to hold on to their authority and they want to hold on to their domination. So once we understand that, it's you're free to look, and there's nothing wrong in checking to make sure something's right or wrong. That's what they're encouraging us to do in books like the Live Forever book. On your study, the very first few pages of the study is encouraging you to check out your former religion and say, don't be scared of challenging your pastor or your priest or whatever. They may have got it wrong. Well, why can't we have the same standard for you, Watchtower?
So true. So
anyway,
true. I appreciate your comments, man.
Yeah, and you, for sure. You just made me think about that because I had that book on my desk for some reason. I was just researching something, and I thought, there is a quote that they said that's similar to what you mentioned. So I thought, I'll just say it. Yeah. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm sure I don't know why Anne-Marie is having problems with her line, I think.
Are you back with us, Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie, back with us? It's star 6 if you are. Well, I guess she probably did lose phone contact. She's been having some trouble with the phone. But Rick Farron here sitting in for her. The subject was truth. Boy, the Watchtower does not tell the truth. We know that. And I mean, I couldn't even count the number of lies the Watchtower has given to us, even when we were in it. But we thought they were telling us the truth. I mean, really, stop and think about it. I remember back in the 1960s, right after I got baptized, I at one time was really a loyal witness. And I believe the Watchtower is saying, don't bother getting an education. Don't bother really trying to get a career because the system's going to end. In just a few years, the system will end. Armageddon will be here. I mean, that was a big lie, right? Geez, that was probably one of the biggest lies. How many people listen to this broadcast tonight that have really got a messed up life because of the Watchtower telling them that lie? But they'll deny it. You could if you get a hold of an official of the Watchtower and said, that's what you told us, they'd say, well, nobody really knows the day or the hour. They come up with some excuse. You know how they are. So what about you? Well, what do you think is one of the biggest lies the Watchtower has ever said? I mean, you must have one. Go ahead, speak up. You're on with us right now. What was one of the biggest lies? Go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead.
It's Donnie here in England. Hello, Rick. Hi.
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. I was just thinking, in the study books when we were all, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes, we can. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, in the study books when we were all studying, the early chapters, the Watchtower or the writers of the books, they point out that family and friends, they're going to try and talk you out of studying the Bible with Jehovah's Witnesses, but don't listen to them. It's the devil talking through them because the devil doesn't want you in the truth. And then, of course, as we studied, we did find family members and friends and work colleagues putting us off, JWs are a cult, etc. And so then we think, the JWs prophesied this correctly. They said that this would happen. Oh, it's the devil. It's the devil. That's really scary, isn't it? Writing stuff like that in a Bible study aid, isn't it? And of course, it's a complete lie. That it's the devil making family members put us off studying with Jehovah's Witnesses because, it's not the truth at all, is it? I mean, they haven't got one prophecy right in 3 centuries, so it's all a load of nonsense, I'm afraid.
Well, thank you. That's very, very good. I like that. That certainly was one of the biggest lies. We get someone else on with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Growfaith here. So, I have to agree with the caller from England. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, but I do have to agree with you on that because I remember when I was studying, and I studied from the Forever book, just as Maverick mentioned earlier, and they made a point to say that, listen, your family, they're not going to be happy with you studying the Bible with Jehovah's Witnesses. And it panned out to be true. So much so that I received serious opposition from every single member of my family. And I firmly believe what the witnesses told me was true. Yes, this is persecution. And so this is definitely God's organization. This is the truth. And that got me to stick even closer to the organization. What I had wished had happened was somebody had alerted me or had said to me, you know what you should do first is to study the history. Have a history study of Jehovah's Witnesses, because I can guarantee you, once you study the history of Jehovah's Witnesses, you will never advance to a Bible study with them. And I wish that had happened to me, that some member of my family or even someone else had said to me, you know what, this is what you should do. Study the history first.
Well, that's probably the best advice when you stop and think about it. Yeah, study the history first. If you did, I don't think you would ever come in. I don't think you'd ever come into the so-called truth, would you?
That's true. I would not have.
Okay.
I would not have.
All right. Hold on one second. We just got some background people coming in. Well, Growfaith, thank you very much for chiming in with us. I appreciate you coming in tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Rick.
Yes, go ahead, Susan.
I was thinking.
Yes, go ahead, Susan.
Okay. I was thinking back when I first studied, and the people that studied with me were so sincere.
They were so believable. But that doesn't mean that they weren't sincerely wrong. So it's an emotional thing. I trusted them. People in the Kingdom Hall, I began to trust them. And then your emotions get involved. And I think once your emotions start getting involved, you stop listening to reason.
Well, that's exactly what happens, Susan. That's a good way to explain it. And we all got emotionally involved in the Watchtower. How wouldn't you be able to get emotionally involved? And then the power of reason goes right out the back window. Good thought. Thank you. All right. Let's move to, I think it's Dick Boogie. Dick, yes, Dick.
Yeah, you're asking about the biggest lies that the Watchtower has told. And, you can harken back to 1975 and the United Nations and all that stuff. But the biggest lie by far is that our Heavenly Father's Holy Spirit runs the organization and keeps it clean. What a full-faced lie that is. Thank you, Rick.
Well, Dick, that is one of the biggest lies. But, also there's lies of omission. There's certain things they will not, they leave out. And in fact, that's considered a lie as well. And I think of in the Truth Book, the blue bombshell, as we all called it when we're witnesses. There's a chapter in there. Why is it wise? I believe it's chapter 2. Why is it wise to examine your religion? We know darn well the Watchtower wouldn't let you examine their religion. And yet they wanted, if we were studying the Bible with someone, the Watchtower wanted us to make sure we made that very possible and very easy for them to understand, to examine your religion so you could join the Watchtower. But there's a sin of omission there, that they're leaving out the fact that, we can't examine the Jehovah's Witness religion, but we wanted people who we were trying to bring into the truth to examine theirs. How dishonest is that? Think about that. Thank you, Dick. Well, you're on, Anne-Marie.
Exactly it.
Yeah, Pixie, go ahead. Well, anyways, we had Anne-Marie on here with us. Anne-Marie, you back with us? I believe you are.
Rick, I did not know my phone had stopped the call. God knows how long ago. I was talking and wondering why nobody had started. Thank you for being there, Rick. You mentioned chapter 2 of The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life. I couldn't believe that the Watchtower dedicated an entire chapter explaining why it is wise to examine your religion. And on page 13, they said that it is not disrespectful or going against God to examine any religion or belief system or organization that you may be affiliated with. I mean, they actually said that. And I have a feeling that after the failure of the 1975 Armageddon prophecy, I have a feeling that a lot of brothers and sisters went back and carefully read that second chapter, and that had a lot to do with so many leaving. Am I coming in okay?
Yes, you are, Anne-Marie. Yeah, you're coming in good. Yes. Yes. It's good.
I'm so sorry.
Well, no, that's fine.
New phone.
Well, this is me. This is Rick. Yep.
Oh, I thought there was somebody else talking, my brother.
No, in fact, I find it fascinating in that particular chapter, chapter 2, that they really make it profoundly to do. It's something you have to do. You have to examine your religion. But yet at the same time, as I said, they will not let us examine our religion. And if you have a question, I've always said you can question the Watchtower, but don't question their answers. That's exactly how they did. Really? Yeah. So anyways, Anne-Marie, we got about a few minutes left. If anyone, Anne-Marie, go ahead, take about 5 minutes and go ahead and talk to your audience. And then about 5 minutes from now, we'll go to Dick and Constance. Well, I think we lost Anne-Marie again. Well, we've got to straighten that out. We're going to have to get her a new phone, I think, because, boy, I'll tell you, the call keeps being dropped. But it's a great subject. I think all of us can connect with how many lies the Watchtower has told us. I mean, I can think of so many without even digging too deep, and all you guys can too as well, I'm sure. So, anyways, anyone want to give a comment here or a thought before we move on to Dick and Constance Borgie? They'll be exposing the Watchtower tonight. I just want to take the time while I'm.
Did you see the story about the doctor in Nigeria that didn't give the patient the blood transfusion?
Yeah, tell us about that, Pixie.
Well, usually it's the patient that's a Jehovah's Witness and refuses the blood transfusion, with the doctor and nurses begging them to please reconsider and to live. In the Nigerian case, the doctor, a woman doctor, refused to give a pregnant patient the blood, and the patient and the infant died.
That's murder.
Thank you. So that was a little bit of a different twist on the dynamic of who was refusing what to whom.
Well, I'm sure that's happened before. It probably has. We don't get all the information we need on that, but we do know many thousands have died refusing blood transfusions. Hey, Anne Marie, I think you're back on with us. Are you there?
Yeah, my phone keeps dropping the call, and what are you gonna do? Did somebody want to comment?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Hello, King of the Dogs.
How did you recognize me?
You have
Is
a
this
very
witchcraft or something? Is this some sort of witchcraft? Well, I'll tell you why I called. I've got to read another poem. And I'm going to do it, and no one can stop me, not unless you want to block me out. But I'm almost ready, but I'm not going to do the title first. It's called The Insanity of Vanity. You talking to me? You talking to me? Yeah, I'm talking to you, governing body. It's not looking too good for you. Your self-image needs to improve, because the way you look on the tube is more ridiculous than your new beard dues. You can't admit a mistake. Your voices sound like a chalkboard scrape. And worst of all, you think you look and sound great. Now that's the insanity of vanity, and you own it. Don't make me the fall guy like my mean words are making you cry. It's called constructive criticism. You know, what you give out in bulldozer scoops to everyone you know? Well, he who lives in blue glass houses shouldn't cast stones, because you don't know who's going to throw them right back at you. How Cologne gets out of a YouTube, I'll never know. So if you want to get real, skip the uniform, ditch the monotone, and use a little less insanity with your fixation on physical vanity, because y'all look like frauds, not friends, to everyone or anyone. So everybody. That's my poem for tonight. And the real title is You Can't Fix Stupid, but You Could Try.
King of the Dots. That is probably the best poem I've heard from you so far.
I'm crazy? I'm crazy? Is that what you
No, you're not. You're a thinker, and a very intelligent one at that.
Well, I'm doing it out of love for the governing body. They need a little love before they take their millstone, you know? You just got to think about them, you know? I mean, they don't only got a couple more years, maybe even a couple more days. And then they're done. Their day is done, as they say about the kings of the earth.
Right. But I worry about all of the affiliates that they have with the New World Order, and, you know, the ones that are really in control of what's going on. They have so many associates that are not Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's all about protecting the organization. I heard a clip of a speaker speaking out to the audience, which included many who were just investors,
in the organization. You know, all that money has to be distributed too. And they were saying to the audience, our foremost concern is protecting our organization and our tax exempt status. He said that it saves us millions of dollars every year because they don't have to pay taxes. They have to protect their 501c3 charity tax status. And when they were talking to and file on their public broadcast, they said our foremost concern is protecting all of the organization. But in prior meeting to investors, our primary concern is protecting our organization.
Well, I think we lost Anne Marie there, but King of the Dots, I'm listening in as well. I'm kind of going back and forth here with Anne Marie, but very good. I have to agree with her. That was probably one of your better ones. Now, I think so. You had a lot of that. That one really. I'll tell you what resonated with me. I believe it resonated with most people listening in. They love the poem.
The problem with anything you do creatively is the audience. You don't know really what they like. But if you like it, Rick, then it means it's good.
Well, there's things that I noticed. I can't remember everything in it, but I noticed that you referred to the governing body as frogs. They look like frogs.
No, fraud, not fraud.
Oh, frauds! I thought you said frogs. I was gonna say what governing body member looks most like a frog to you? I was gonna ask you. I would say Jeffrey Jackson. Yeah. Well, they're all frauds. We know that. Well, thank you, King of Dots. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you coming on. And
I just want to make sure that they know that we're thinking about them. You know, I don't want them to be left out of the apostate movement thinking that we don't care. I mean,
well,
I care.
They know we're thinking. They know we're thinking about them almost every Sunday in their Watchtower lesson. They talk about the apostates, so they know we're thinking of them. Anne Marie, I think we got you back. Go ahead and just give your last words, and we'll go to Dick and Constance. You back with us, Anne Marie? Maybe not. Well, I'll end the program for Anne Marie. She's been having some difficulties. Did you want to give the last words, Anne Marie? You on with us?
Can you hear me, Ray?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if it's going to drop again. I just wanted to reiterate again how important truth is. And it takes courage to stand up for the truth. But it's really warming because at least we know we're not living a lie. I just want to thank everyone who called in and forgive me for missing the ones who called in when my phone was dead. I want to thank Thomas from Lawrence, Kansas. I always want to thank Pixie and Ken from Michigan. And Dick Borgie gave some great comments from North Carolina. And thank you, Rick, so much for your thoughts and standing in for me. And I want to thank the King of the Dots. Always love his comments and his poetry. Thank you all for calling in. We need to go to Rick and Dick and Constance. And thank you all for calling in. Again, today is May 17th, 2025. And this show is Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. We need to go to Rick. Rick?
Well, I'm right here, Anne Marie. I want to thank everyone as you have. Now, Dick and Constance Borgie, they're former Jehovah's Witnesses, and they'll be coming on with their program, Exposing the Jehovah's Witness, coming up next. Now, I just want to mention, folks, I have been really promoting a program that's coming up on JW World News tonight about 8 o'clock. This is a program that you'll find very, very enlightening, shocking. I suppose we could give it a lot of adjectives, but the reason why I know that you'll enjoy it is we're going to be talking about a sex trafficking in the Watchtower. Now, there's many listening to this saying, Rick, that doesn't happen. Come on, there you go again. You're sensationalizing. Friends, we have got a woman coming on from California, and she's going to tell you how she was sex trafficked. Is that the word? How she was sex trafficked in the Watchtower when she was a younger person. Yes, she's going to share her story with us tonight, right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. We also have a lawyer, Travis Walker, out of Florida, and he is dealing with child sex abuse cases. He's coming on tonight. He'll be on at a 9 o'clock hour on JW World News. You don't want to miss it. If you have got a friend that has been sexually molested, he'll be taking your questions. He'll be answering them tonight in real time. So by all means, join us tonight on JW World News coming up after Dick and Constance. We want to thank you all for coming in, and stay with us now. Dick and Constance are up next. We're going to end this program right here.